Hey, how's it going today? I am Skitty Beans, and today we are going to be watching When Animals Lose Their Biggest Fear. I'm not totally sure what this one's about, but the title caught my eye. It's from Casual Geographic, so I mean, we're going to be in for a good time. So I'm excited for this one. If you do get a chance, I would appreciate if you could leave a like and subscribe. It would help me out a bunch. And I have Casual Geographic's video linked in my description below. So let's see what we got going on today.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. I don't know what I was expecting, but oh man, it snatched her ass right at. Oh man.
Remember, if you think the government won't, they absolutely will. You remember that time the CIA tried to weaponize otters? To be fair, they tried it with a lot of animals, and when Central Intelligence initiated a program to basically turn animals into spies, otters were seen as the most qualified. And they're
Did they really? Oh man, I'm gonna have to watch that one.
Intelligence initiated a program to basically turn animals into spies, otters were seen as the most qualified. And they're not wrong, pretty privilege aside, it's a highly intelligent, tube-shaped, tool-using, brush-stroking honey badger that is every bit the predator. Someone said, give him a fedora, he could do a lot for you. Let's make otter agents, which led to the creation of the Otter Dossier. Side note, whatever.
The Otter Dossier? Oh my gosh, get out of here with that. Yo, otters are they're just doing it all.
For you, let's make otter agents, which led to the creation of the Otter Dossier. Side note, whatever they were planning apparently has something to do with MK Ultra. If you think they want, the dossier highlights some otter flexes like being able to dive 60 feet and stay under more than 5 minutes, carry objects while swimming, and climb ladders. They also found that the aggressive Slinky can open zippers, turn on water taps, discreetly enter and exit boats, and even chew through a zinc sheet.
Oh my gosh, they are the ultimate agent. Oh my gosh, that is wild. So they can just do it all, and they're smart little cookies. I see. Okay.
I don't know how they found that. At one point they say, never take food from an otter or suffer severe mauling, and I just know the cost of that knowledge was some poor intern's fingers. There's some cool stuff too, like otters being ticklish at the ribs or babies having to be taught not to be afraid of water. You should definitely check it out for yourself. But there was one line that stood out, and it read like a prophecy. Capable of being trained and becomes devoted to humans, which can lead to their destruction.
Oh wow. Okay. Oh, that is quite the statement. Okay.
Whose destruction, you ask?
Yeah.
Yes, this is the face of a threat to national security and a
This is the face. Oh my gosh. Yeah, the otters are just so cute. I know they're a little twisted, but I mean, I still think they're cute. I got nothing against them.
Whose destruction, you ask? Yes, this is the face of a threat to national security and a fugitive of the justice system. I'm not even kidding, but to get why this is an otter menace, we gotta go back to 2016. It's always 2016.
Always
a young
2016.
female otter was found abandoned and orphaned and was rescued and rehabilitated by Monterey Bay Aquarium. And in 2017, Otter 723 was released back into the wilds of Santa Cruz. Researchers then got reports of a rogue otter swimming up to boats and kayaks, and sure enough, yeah, it was Lady 723. Apparently she'd been getting fish and squid handouts from local animal lovers, not realizing that being friendly with humans now meant the freeloading seafarer would never be fit for the wild, and she was captured.
Oh no, yeah. That she wouldn't be able to fend for herself if we're feeding her.
Realizing that being friendly with humans now meant the freeloading seafarer would never be fit for the wild, and she was captured and deemed unreleasable. But not before they realized 723 was getting attention from more than just people, cuz she was pregnant, and they weren't about to make the same mistake.
She was preggo. Oh man, so she just living her best life. Get it, girl.
723 was getting attention from more than just people, cuz she was pregnant, and they weren't about to make the same mistake with her daughter, and would often wear masks and ponchos, looking like they just raided Darth Vader's closet, all to make certain that she wouldn't get attached to humans. She got attached to humans. And
oh no. Didn't care. Still, oh, look at this little baby though. Oh, so cute.
just raided Darth Vader's closet, all to make certain that she wouldn't get attached to humans. She got attached to humans. And a year after Daughter 841 was released, Monterey Bay started getting calls of a surfboard jacking otter. That's right, the same otter they tried so hard to keep away from humans was now going up to humans, and when I say board jacking, it's exactly what it sounds like, and before you think she's playing, that's not a bite of play, that's a bite of purpose. Remember the zinc sheet.
Man.
So after multiple calls of people sacrificing their boards to this water weasel, officials decided to capture her, but fun fact, an animal recruiter for the CIA is harder to catch than a cold in the Kalahari. They tried to relocate her for months, but every time outlaw otter slipped away. She was on the run and swim, but she was
Oh, she's a fugitive otter. That is so funny.
They tried to relocate her for months, but every time outlaw otter slipped away. She was on the run and swim, but she would have one more plot twist for everyone. Because after being MIA for a minute, 841 was spotted again, but this time with a pup. And because of that, officials gave up on trying to catch her and instead just tried to monitor the mother. Meaning, the board beef has been renewed for at least another generation. Jokes aside, this is a problem, because you know the second she bites someone, 841's becoming a forever 404. And otter
I mean, that's true too. That kind of puts you in like a rock and a hard place in this situation, right? Like, yeah, she's probably better off getting caught, but you can't catch her. Now she's got a baby. So is the baby gonna start biting boards too? It's gonna be a board biting family.
aside, this is a problem, because you know the second she bites someone, 841's becoming a forever 404. And otter jaws are built to humble clams and sea urchins, so it probably wouldn't feel good to get clamped by one.
No.
Or 8. Last September, a woman was jogging through Tanjung Aru Park in Sabah, Malaysia, when she was jumped by a pack of river otters. Keep in mind, these are the same assault sausages that can game over a gator. Maria Sela Harun was mauled for 10 minutes straight in what was the park's first known otter attack, and she was
For 10 minutes? I mean, I'm pretty sure that otters probably have a very strong bite considering all the stuff that they eat and everything. And I don't know how many, I don't know if he said how many there were, but 10 minutes of getting bit by the, oh my gosh, I can't even imagine. That has got to be brutal. Oof.
Sela Harun was mauled for 10 minutes straight in what was the park's
Yikes.
first known otter attack, and she was taken to the hospital with wounds, cuts, and like a certain CIA agent, a lifelong distrust of otters. The director of wildlife said that the otters had always been around and were never known to be aggressive, but he also said something interesting that I almost missed, that this sudden switch up could be caused by the ill-intentioned goodwill of people. But that was
Oh, do you think maybe she didn't feed them? Like she didn't give them food and then they got pissed at her and attacked her? Or do you think they were just, or was she like eating something and then they were like trying to steal her food? I wonder, I wonder what like maybe made them like snap.
that I almost missed, that this sudden switch up could be caused by the ill-intentioned
It's 8:30 or okay. He suggested that the incident could have been triggered by changes in the otter's behavior, possibly caused by park visitors feeding them. Okay.
goodwill of people. But that was all the way in Malaysia. You don't really have to worry about that over here. The same month, a river otter mauled a child and even dragged him underwater.
Oh my goodness. Attacks a child at Seattle area marina. Says a river otter attacked a child at a Seattle marina, dragging the child into the water, and the mother saved her. The child suffered scratches and bites. The mother was bitten in the arm during it. Oh my gosh. Were they trying to eat the kid? Or they or did the kid have snacks and it was just trying to get the snacks? I don't know. Oh my gosh. That's a little scary though.
Malaysia. You don't really have to worry about that over here. The same month, a river otter mauled a child and even dragged him underwater, except this time, it was in Seattle. Now, not to victim blame, but if there's infinite realities, then there's at least one where little Timmy had it coming. Who's to say these stories aren't just media plants from anti-otter propaganda?
Oh, right. Child okay after otter pulls it into water. Otter captured, euthanized after attacking child and whatever. Wildlife Department released a statement after river otter attacks. These are the same one that had just different headlines for it, and then everyone's gonna think otters are evil and child attackers
and there's at least one where little Timmy had it coming. Who's to say these stories aren't just media plans from anti-otter propaganda? Maybe the otter's not being fairly represented. I'm not trying to spread misinformation, that'd be an otter travesty, which is why I'm working with Ground News. Ground News is an app and website created by a former NASA engineer who saw a very real problem with the way we consume information and how heavily it shapes our worldviews. She said, "I'll do it myself," and created a simple way to compare different perspectives and come to your own conclusion. Every day, Ground News collects thousands of articles from around the world and organizes them by story, so you can see how many outlets have covered a story, how factual they usually are, who owns the source, and you even get an overall bias distribution. I really like that part because it's easy to feel like everything has some kind of agenda. Like even the things you wouldn't think of as political are somehow political. Like
That is true. I mean, after just, if that was him on the app showing all the stuff about the otters, that is kind of wild.
wolves. Wolves are highly political animals and not just Blitzer. Obviously because of the whole wolf rancher beef. Well, here you can see that Colorado's looking to relocate a wolf pack blamed for livestock attacks was reported by 22 news outlets, with most of the reporting coming from the left. The left headlines seem to focus on current efforts to recapture the wolves, while the right headlines explicitly mention it's because these wolves were killing livestock. Ground News basically forces you to break out of your echo chamber and see the whole story. In fact, there's even a blind spot feature to read up on any stories one side might not have covered. Like if you only read right, you might miss that Denmark's converting 15% of farmland into forests. They're also taxing farting cows and pigs.
They're taxing farting cows and pigs. Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, you know what? That is a blind spot. Ground News gives you thousands of stories all across the political spectrum to help you form your own opinion, as well as fill in the gaps you might get from only ever hearing from one end. And it's really helpful for me since half my job involves sitting in front of a screen researching stuff. And for Black Friday, they're offering all my viewers 50% off the same Ground News Vantage subscription plan I'm using, all the features included. It's their biggest sale of the year, so go to groundnews.com/casualgeo, scan the QR code, or click the link in the description to subscribe for less than $5 a month. And once you do,
And he got a sponsor on this one. Yay.
read up on all those articles, articles about otter attacks, and you might notice something. 723 was raised by people, fed by people, and ultimately got too comfortable with people. Her daughter likely also got handouts from humans. And Maria Sela got jumped by an onslaught of otters in a park where people were likely already regularly feeding them. Now don't get me wrong, it's still a warmongering, waterproof Wolverine weaponizing the power of plurality. But it seems they don't really become a threat until they lose their fear of humans.
I feel like there's so many instances where I think people, I know I do it too, but I mean, I also keep my distance from wildlife that I know that might be, hazardous or a little dangerous. But I think when you have something that seems so docile and people friendly, I don't know if people just, it's like the cuteness factor, and then we kind of are blinded by the fact that this animal could bite us, potentially hurt us, and anything else, so like our caution, I guess, gets a little sideways, and then something happens. But it's like I understand it, and I think there's probably a lot of people that are just like, oh, like I want to feed the cute otter or raccoon or whatever, and don't really always think about the things that can unfold very quickly because they are wild animals. So I can kind of see it, but it also seems like we need to be better too. Like if they're wild, like let them be wild, and maybe we don't need to be feeding everything in sight. I have a very, very soft spot for animals, and I would be more than happy to be feeding them if I could afford to feed all the animals, but I don't. So, it's like you kind of have to just let them be sometimes.
You ever hear of human arrogance? Probably not, because I just made it up. Human arrogance is walking in a forest scared, whole time the forest is scared because you're in it walking. The whole they're more afraid of you than you are of them, that's real, and it's scientifically proven. Some mother bears will purposely raise their kids closer to humans, knowing the best male bear repellent is proximity to people. Jacob and Tibu were two lions that made a record-breaking 1-mile swim through croc and hippo-filled waters. I actually talked about it in the last video. What I didn't tell you was they both could have taken the much easier land bridge across, but that would have involved coming into contact with humans, and apparently they'd rather run the aquatic gauntlet in the dark than risk a run-in with a bipedal pale ape. But
that is quite the statement being made by animals, though. No, they'd rather go swim with the crocodiles than travel a path where they could run into people. Oof.
And apparently they'd rather run the aquatic gauntlet in the dark than risk a run-in with a bipedal pale ape. But, speaking of lions, it's scientifically proven that animals are more terrified of us than a literal 400-pound maned population.
I mean, that's kind of sad. Like, what does that say about us, though? Like, we're the real monsters.
In an experiment led by Professor Leanna Zanet, scientists planted hidden camera speakers near watering holes that would automatically get triggered every time an animal got close. Basically, they'd be recording different animals' reactions to the sound of lions versus people speaking the local tongue. And with lions preferring to ambush prey near watering holes, you'd expect a growl to send any creature running for the hills. Instead, 95% of the animals recorded were more afraid of the sound of humans than a stalking lion. Animals that included giraffes, impala, kudu, leopards, and even chronic lion Chutoy the hyena packed it up faster when they heard humans. The only animal that didn't was the literal biggest one alive with toenails. Even during dry season, animals typically evacuated 40% faster hearing humans compared to if it was a hypothetical predator.
That is such a wild, study that she did. And that kind of makes me really sad though too, that, I mean, it's part of it because we don't sound like animals though. So that's just something that they have absolutely no concept of if they've never really come in contact with people, or is it because they've maybe seen terrible things that people have done to them? I don't know. You know what I mean? I guess I'm not totally sure. But that's crazy. It makes me feel sad. But that's probably good though. They should stay away from people. If they're wild, just stay away from the people.
Evacuated 40% faster hearing humans compared to if it was a hypothetical predator. Because to a majority of animals, we are the predator.
Yeah.
But to me, the craziest part of the experiment was the reveal that animals were more fearful of people just speaking than the sounds of literal gunshots and hunting dogs. Meaning it's gotten to the point where people see the mere presence of a human more threatening than the sounds of someone actually getting put on a shirt. So
that is so wild. I mean, that's so... I know it's not all people, right? But, and animals don't know the difference. I don't blame them. I don't blame them at all.
Where people see the mere presence of a human more threatening than the sounds of someone actually getting put on a shirt. So when an animal has zero fear of humans, something is very wrong, and it usually only has one outcome, and no one showed that more than Freya. Freya was actually a walrus, famous for appearing in Oslo Fjord, Norway, several hundred miles south of where you'd expect a giant Arctic blubber ball. She was the first walrus in the Netherlands in 23 years, and pictures would go viral of her lounging on and sometimes sinking boats. And with her being friendly enough to approach people, the walrus would become a national and then international figure and was given her name. But you already know we can't have nice things.
Right, that is true. But unfortunately, I don't know, that seems like... I do remember this story, but this just seems so probably not a good idea. This is a huge animal. I would imagine that this seems extremely dangerous to me. This is probably not good.
National and then international figure and was given her name. But you already know we can't have nice things.
Yep.
Freya didn't fear humans, and unfortunately the feeling was mutual, with crowds of people getting way too close to her, people trying to swim with her, and even at some point pelting stuff at her. Officials tried warning the public.
I hate that though. See, I hate when you hear about people throwing things at animals. I don't know, that just makes me angry. Or with the dolphins and putting the ice cream cones in their blowholes, that's so messed up. I think just respect them, respect the animals, let them be wild, keep your distance, you could still enjoy them, but they're wild animals at the end of the day, I don't know. Yeah, this seems like a bad idea, and really bad for her.
To her, people trying to swim with her, and even at some point pelting stuff at her. Officials tried warning the public of, the health risks of playing.
Not that she isn't adorable though. I mean, that is cute even though she's sinking a boat, but but I admire from afar.
With a 1,300-pound ship retiring tusk seal, but even after Freya literally chased a woman into water, of course nobody listened. Officials were banking on Freya leaving on her own, but she didn't, and neither did her crowd. In fact, it only got worse. So the night of August 12, 2022, 4 government officials patrolled the marina with a rifle, and by sunrise, Freya was, Yeah. Now,
Oh my god, so they killed her? Oh, I mean, I don't know. I guess how much did Freya weigh? Probably a lot. So if you try to trank her and I don't know, bring her somewhere, but still, I don't know. See, like that's a really sad ending. Ugh.
the situation's a lot more complicated than I just made it sound, so I do recommend checking out Kay Passionate's video on the matter. She's a friend of the channel, she actually works with walruses, and I feel like she's a little more qualified than, you know, internet backwards hat guy. But if you're asking what I think, man, look, I want to see both sides, and you know, I kind of do. Airdropping an aquatic animal, especially one the weight of a buffalo, especially when tranquilizing isn't even an option, is a lot harder.
Oh, so tranking wasn't an option. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I guess like that's like part of the problem, right? Like when you have an animal that is this big, it's not something that you can like put, you know, trank and take somewhere or whatever, but is huge and I don't know. I mean, I would imagine that probably causes a lot of other issues. So I don't know. It seems like a very complicated situation that all parties got into. You know, Freya, people feeding her, and then Freya becoming like a problem, but it's kind of because of people, you know, like it I feel like this just has a very sad ending and ended up being such a complicated situation.
Animal, especially one the weight of a buffalo, especially when tranquilizing isn't even an option, is a lot harder than you think. There's a good chance to stress with a flatline Freya anyway. It would only
Oh
take her bumping
no.
into a child once to turn both into a hashtag. But if you're really asking me, I don't think euthanasia should have been on the table. Anything would have been better. Like, worst comes to worst, hot take, if someone actively chooses to cozy up to a 1,000-pound half-evolved snow hippo and gets past tense in the process, you really can only charge it to Darwin. And I don't know.
I mean, like that is true, right? Like that goes back to like we need to like respect wild animals, right? And and putting her down, I kind of agree that like maybe that like wasn't really the answer, and it wasn't really like, I mean, I guess in like the knee jerk reaction part of it is that it was a quick fix, right? Like it was easier to put her down than to like try to deal with her, or maybe start regulating the people that are there, like do not feed her, don't interact with, you know, I've obviously, because as we've seen, like people get in zoo enclosures, so clearly like they don't listen. But I think at that point though, something does happen to you, like maybe it is your own fault. I kind of agree with them there too, because I don't know, it's not like she was necessarily violent or I don't know. I don't know. I always hate like seeing animals get put down like that, but I don't, this whole situation seems like maybe it could have been avoided had we just not engaged with her, you know, just let her be a wild animal. But it's like I know it's like a hard urge for a lot of people to like not want to get, I guess, like interact with wild animals, but that still doesn't make it right. So I kind of agree with them there.
Evolved snow hippo and gets past tense in the process, you really can only charge it to Darwin. And I don't know if it's a sea puppy thing gone too far, but I do not know when people decided to stop taking seals and sea lions seriously. It's basically a rebranded beach bear. It really is like we went back to 2016 and
like, see, like why would you let your child do this? Like I feel like this is the kind of shit that like you like don't just don't do not let your kids do stuff like this. You know, it's dangerous. It's a wild animal, and you just gotta leave them alone. Leave them alone. Give them their space. I don't know. Yeah, at this point, I feel like in some instances, obviously not. I don't, you know, like not 100%, but definitely in some instances, I feel like, you know, we are the ones that should know better and should give them space and let them be wild animals and not try to have them as like some community town pet, you know.
sea lion seriously. It's basically a rebranded beach bear. It really is like we went back to 2016 and harambeed ourselves all over again. And for being named after a Norse goddess, Freya got done nasty for a walrus whose only crime was trusting people. And now, all that's left of her is a statue named fittingly for our sins. So yeah, you probably...
Oh my gosh, yeah. that is true. So it's like, so if you named your statue that, it's like, you done messed up, and you should have, like, you know, done things in her best interest and not the people's. I don't know. That's sad. This story makes me sad.
Now, all that's left of her is a statue named, fittingly, For Our Sins. So yeah, you probably couldn't tell, but the Freya stuff pissed me off, especially since
Yeah.
I swear we're about to do it again. Neil is a southern elephant seal that went viral for being an adorable menace to the people of Hobart, Tasmania. Neil's lore is his mom likely got lost, and instead of having him on Macquarie Island with a colony of other seals, instead he spawned nearly 1,000 miles away on the Tasman Peninsula. Two big problems: one, this meant Neil would be hardwired to return to the same beach on Salem Bay, and two, with a distinct lack of other seals, Neil would interact with anything that moved, including people, dogs, and even cars.
Oh no, because he's like so lonely. Oh, that's kind of heartbreaking though. Poor guy.
Neil would interact with anything that moved, including people, dogs, and even cars, which meant Neil had absolutely zero fear of people. One woman even had to call out of work after Neil fell asleep in front of her car and literally sealed her in her own house. And was
Oh my gosh. Is that how, like, oh my, is that how big they are? I God damn. But yeah, like, this is kind of sad though too. He has no seals around him.
call out of work after Neil fell asleep in front of her car and literally sealed her in her own house. And with southern elephant seals maxing out at nearly 20 feet long and over 8,000 pounds, it's
8,000 pounds? Oh my gosh. Yeah, big boys and girls.
her own house. And with southern elephant seals maxing out at nearly 20 feet long and over 8,000 pounds, it's one of those things that's going to be real cute until it isn't. And like clockwork, there's already reports of children harassing Neil, as well as people violating his space for selfies.
See, like that, yeah, I don't know. Stuff like this definitely rubs me the wrong way. Not in a way that, like, I don't like the animal, in a way that, like, we as people just need to, we just have to be better, you know? We just have to be better and respectful of wild animals, which I know, I don't know, I feel like a lot of people aren't, or they just think that they're dumb animals or whatever, you know, and like that's not the case either. So it's like, I don't know. It just definitely, these stories definitely kind of rub me the wrong way of, like, you know, we definitely do not hold a lot of wild animals to a certain, like, standard that we should respect them as wild animals, and we should leave them alone, and we shouldn't baby them. And I understand he's desperate, you know, but I mean, there had to have been something better that we could have done for him, or anything, you know. I don't know, these stories kind of break my heart a little bit, that, you know, these are not the animal's fault by any means, you know, like, and then I feel like we're not doing our due diligence to protect them, but we just kind of just use them, and I don't know, it kind of makes me sad.
There's already reports of children harassing Neil, as well as people violating his space for selfies. It's gotten to the point where officials are begging the public to leave him alone, to not post him or share his whereabouts, basically gatekeeping the seal. And some of that might be on me. I literally talked about Neil earlier this year in a video with millions of views putting his name out. Now there's a chance Neil gets loved to death by the same people he trusted. So yeah, losing the fear of people could be a death sentence for an animal, but for some species, it got them erased. The Caribbean monk seal went extinct in the 50s after being hunted into oblivion, and their biggest downfall was their distinct lack of fear and curiosity towards people. Columbus even noted how weirdly chill they were, and for that, they got slaughtered.
Oh no. Oh. Oof. Damn.
Towards people. Columbus even noted how weirdly chill they were, and for that, they got slaughtered. The dodo is a plus-size pigeon in the past that also got decimated by sailors, because evolving on an island with no predators meant they had no concept of self-defense. They were cooked. The gray auk, which isn't a penguin, also famously had no fear of humans, and after going from 6 million in numbers to nothing in about 300-something years, yeah, we gave them every reason to. There was even an account of 2 ships murking 1,000 auks in only half an hour.
half an hour. Oh my god. They look so pretty. They look so cool. God. You know, this is like people suck. I mean, not all people, you know, but like this, I don't know. It just you just hate to hear it.
And believe it or not, it's still happening. The harpy eagle's a popular target for poachers since they'll often just sit on a perch and let them approach. Also, being big enough to be confused for a fursona means some people will just shoot it out of curiosity. So yeah.
Oh god. Thanks. Okay. See, like that seems just callous and just kind of gross, honestly. Like I get, you know, hunting for food and, you know, using all the meat and everything, you know, like I get that, but like this, ugh, yeah, not a fan.
Approach. Also, being big enough to be confused for a fursona means some people will just shoot it out of curiosity. So yeah, animals need to be afraid of humans. But what can you do about that? Well,
oh.
Quick pop quiz. You're being stared down by a coyote. Should you A, make yourself look bigger?
Oh no.
B, spray him with water? C, cause an absolute fucking scene? Or D, put the fear of God in Wiley? Well, if you picked any one of these, you're wrong. It's actually E. Yes. You see, in college, hazing is something that gets fraternities shut down. In the wild, hazing is scaring an animal enough to factory reset its behavior and make it want to avoid anything human.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, there are exceptions, like if the coyote's hurt, sick, or with kids, then you want to fall back because they might just call your bluff. It's not to hurt them, quite the opposite. Making them prejudiced towards people is the nicest thing you could do for them. Because when you feed a wild animal, you're almost certainly marking them for death. And sometimes it's not just theirs. Okay. Let's do this one last time. Baboons in Cape Town have gotten bold enough to mug women and children, break into houses, and even commit carjackings.
They're mugging women and children. Oh my god. That's not funny, but like, holy crap. I mean, they're smart. They are smart.
To mug women and children, break into houses, and even commit carjackings. And the most likely reason was tourists kept feeding baboons until not only they became habituated with people, after associating humans with food, they started demanding it. And like with 841, this is the other side of forgetting the fear of humans, and baboons might not even be the worst offenders. Macaques in India have been living alongside humans for centuries, and not only do they get the benefit of easy food, the monkeys are also revered in Hinduism. But then you had the same issue of expectations leading to aggression, except the monkeys took it a step further. These monkeys are master pickpockets that are smart enough to recognize items of value, snatch them, and then use them as ransom, and negotiating food is the only way you get your stuff back. The smartest ones will even give your stuff back one at a time just to maximize profit. But
I mean, that is wild. These aren't the ones that were throwing the dogs off the roof, are they? Because I mean, I know I've heard about that one, but that is, I mean, monkeys seem like they are awfully smart.
Get your stuff back. The smartest ones will even give your stuff back one at a time just to maximize profit. But you know, brute force works too. In 2007, the mayor of Delhi was attacked by a group of monkeys and pushed off his terrace to his death.
Oh my god. Okay, yeah, see, like, yes. I think all wild animals should be scared of us because these situations are not good. They're not good for both, right? Like, they're not good for us. They're not good for the animal. So I think maybe, like, it's like we just gotta, you know, make sure that wild animals don't want to come near us as much as like we love them and we think they're cool. We just gotta respect the wildlife, I think, because this is not a good situation. This is bad.
2007, the mayor of Delhi was attacked by a group of monkeys and pushed off his terrace to his death. Ironically, the only thing the macaques are afraid of is an even bigger monkey called a langur, and since owning them as pets is illegal, yep, your eyes are correct. Delhi's parliament actually hired men to cosplay as giant marauding monkeys to scare.
Oh my god, what I mean, not a bad idea. Doesn't sound like a terrible idea, but these guys look cursed. Oh my goodness, like this. Oh god. I hope they got paid at least decently for this, because this seems like a whole thing. This is a, oh my goodness.
Are correct. Delhi's parliament actually hired men to cosplay as giant marauding monkeys to scare the real monkeys straight. So yeah, I'll die on the hill that feeding wild animals is killing them softly, and I would know, because I did it once. When I was 10, I started feeding squirrels at a local park, and there was one in particular that really appreciated it, to the point where he'd come up to me even when I was empty-handed. I either named him Tyler or Tyrone, I genuinely don't remember. Well, one day Ty just would not stop following me, no matter where or how far I went. This rodent panhandler was on me like a homing pigeon. It was to the point where he was following me all the way home, and I wasn't allowed to have pets, and I damn sure wasn't allowed to bring pretty privileged rats off the streets, so what did I do? I took a nut, launched it bounced off a reservoir. I lived next to a reservoir, by the way. It landed in the street, my guy Ty followed, and as you can guess, the story ended with one less squirrel.
No.
I was not okay for a while. And don't worry, I get my...
Oh no. Oh my gosh. That would have, oh god, that probably would have traumatized me a little bit. I would have felt so bad if that... I'm not laughing because I'm just laughing because it's like, oh god. Like, I can only imagine little kid casual and just, oh, because you know how much he like loves animals and like, oh my god, like this couldn't have happened to like a worse person. Oh god. Oh man.
Karma later in life when I got jumped by a pack of squirrels in the middle of New York for half a peanut butter sandwich. And yes, every word of that was true. Like an idiot, I fed 1, 1 turned to 2, 2 became 6, 6 spawned 12, and that is unironically the most I've ever been afraid of 12. So what's the moral here? What can be killed with hate can also be smothered by love. That animals are best appreciated from a distance. That the CIA created weapons of utter destruction. Nah. How about leave these seals the f alone? But yeah, that's gonna do it for this video. Drink water.
I agree. I mean, like, everything, all wildlife in general, I think, I mean, unless you're really trying to like help, I guess, in like extreme circumstances, right? But I would say that probably 9 times out of 10, we just gotta leave it alone. Just gotta leave it alone. As much as I'm like, you know, like I love animals as much as I always say, like, yes, I want one, like, not, but like not really, you know what I mean? But like not like I'm gonna go out and like try and catch one and keep it, you know?
Hug your mother, touch grass, call your brother. If something happens to Neil, I'ma really show y'all a crash out. And I'ma see y'all in the next one.
Oh, that's so cute. What a little cutie. Aw. Well, this was a good video. I know, I feel like this video probably needs to be seen by the entire world, everywhere. It should be in schools. It should literally just be playing everywhere, you know? Just like play this video everywhere. Because I feel like he makes such an important point for wild animals and for people, like, you know, like, I don't know, I feel like this video is incredibly important. I feel like for people that love animals or people that are, you know, all about feeding anything and everything, I guess, to a point where it's dangerous, you know. I don't know, because like these poor animals that are, you know, not afraid of people in whole towns that are pretty populated, I would say, and then become kind of a spectacle doesn't seem safe, you know. Just doesn't seem like a good idea for them, and obviously for the people, right? Because then people are getting attacked, and you know, it's just a bad time all around. But I think this is a really great video for him. I'm glad I watched it. This was great. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I really appreciate you guys being here. If you do get a chance, please leave a like and subscribe because it'll help me out a bunch. And please go and subscribe to Casual Geographic if you haven't. Watch his videos if you haven't, because he makes really good stuff. And I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I will see you in the next one.